Well, police disciplinary records are kept off limits to the public thanks in part to a state policy.
Now, here's an interesting twist. A training video by Shopo, the police union, has Hawaii entertainer Kimo Kahuano playing a TV anchor to convince its membership that these records should remain secret.
It's part of a 5-part series by our news partners at Civil Beat, and joining us over Skype now is reporter Chad Blair. Good morning, Chad.
Good morning, KITV.
So, Chad, let's start off with that Shopo training video, and let's stop and take a listen right now.
Officer James Langworthy was suspended 15 days for overbearing conduct.
Hey, isn't that the cop we see in the morning giving text?
Yeah, the one at Kalaniana-Ole Highway.
Yeah.
On September 1st at 10 in the morning, Officer Langworthy cited a motorist for speeding on Kalaniana-Ole Highway. According to the motorist, Langworthy began speaking in a manner which was degrading.
Okay, Chad, so what's the video trying to demonstrate?
Well, I tell you, you should watch the whole thing. It's 8 minutes long. It's up on our website. But in essence, it's trying to show how difficult being a police officer is. It's a stressful life. When they make mistakes, that can cause even more stress, particularly to their families. The whole idea being, don't disclose police disciplinary records. Don't let people find out what they did, because it's only going to make their life worse.
So how is state policy keeping these records from the public?
Well, state courts actually ruled that those records should be disclosed. They're employees, just like other government employees. But what happened is Shopo lobbied the legislature heavily, and the legislature made an exemption in the law so that cops do not have to disclose these records. Of course, that's what our whole series is on. This week at Civil Beat, you can read all the terrible things that a lot of police officers have done. Only a handful have lost their jobs.
Well, that's interesting. All right, on to another story that's in Civil Beat. It seems kind of silly that there needs to be a bill for this, but to keep the state immune from copper thieves, those that might fry themselves?
That's right. In fact, the Department of Transportation testified in support of the bill. As we recall, those copper wires were stolen from the lights on H1 and H2. There was a hearing on the bill yesterday. So basically, if a copper thief would steal those copper wires and suddenly get shocked, yeah, they would be immune. The government would not have to be liable for those cases. I do have an update to that. The bill was deferred yesterday in House Judiciary. Probably dead for the session, but one never knows at the legislature.
So how did this bill get started? Did a copper thief caught in the act get injured somehow?
You know, I don't know enough about the background. I do know that the Department of Transportation expressed strong concern that those kind of instances could happen. And if you think about it, a government entity is liable for what happens on its property. But in this case, do you make an exemption if somebody gets electrocuted because they're trying to steal something? So I think that was the impetus for Ryan Yamani to introduce the bill in the House.
Interesting.
Bizarre.
All right, and now the latest on those marijuana bills. What's happening with that?
Yes, a bit of a surprise. Senate Judiciary and Labor passed a bill yesterday. It heads to the Senate for a full vote, and it would make possession of 1 ounce of marijuana or less subject to a civil penalty, not a criminal penalty, but a civil penalty. The fine could be as much as $1,000. Originally, the bill was drafted to make it $100. Now it's $1,000. If it passes the Senate, it goes to the House. Last year, the House killed a very similar bill. Clayton He, the chairman of the Senate Judiciary, said he hopes the bill in its stronger form will be more appealing to House lawmakers.
All right, Chad Blair, thank you so much for the latest on all of these stories.
Thanks for reading Civil Beat.
And you can find the complete stories that we've just discussed on civilbeat.com. It's now 6:40. We'll be right back.